Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Last week I asked you guys to send in any questions you might have for me for a Q&A. So today I am attempting to answer as many of your questions as possible. This is only the third get to know me style video I've ever done. Because I haven't done a lot of these videos, I think the bulk of the questions I received would be answered by me simply telling you a bit about my story and how I ended up here doing what I'm doing now. I'm starting with an obvious one. My first name is Erin, my middle name is Nicole, and this is Erin Nicole TV because I started my YouTube channel at the very end of my broadcasting career when I went by Erin Nicole, instead of Erin Sujansky, which is the name I was born with, or Erin Hayward, which is now my married name. My first job in Lafayette, Louisiana, the news director asked me if I would mind dropping the Sujansky to go with something a little bit easier to remember. It's very different than a lot of the Cajun French names, and he just felt like it would be difficult for people to say and it wouldn't have that ring to it that you need in TV. And I said, sure, fine, I'll go by Erin Nicole, it's perfect. My parents are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They moved down to Miami, I think in the 70s, 80s, and they lived here for a while before they eventually wound up in Tampa, and that's where I was born and raised. I am a Floridian through and through. I went to the University of Florida for college. I was an English major, and then after college, to finish my degree, I did an internship with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the hockey team. After that, I graduated. Nobody gave me a job, and so I became a Lightning girl. That was really such a formative time for me because I was a Lightning girl in the evenings. I was a cocktail waitress at the Hard Rock Casino overnight. I stayed on the overnight shift for almost a year, which nobody ever does. So I would go into work at midnight. I would get done around 9 o'clock in the morning. At the same time, I was also an intern for the Tampa Bay High School Sports Report. Dave Reynolds, he was a local sports reporter. He became my mentor, and I am forever grateful to him because that is what helped me get my foot in the door to eventually go into broadcasting. I was working nearly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, really no days off. There was always something going on. Some days I worked all three jobs, but I always had at least something every single day. I look back now and I can't believe I did that for nearly a year. I could not, my body would not physically let me do that now. I'll never forget at one point my dad said to me, Erin, I know you really want to go into broadcasting, but you should probably set a time limit for yourself. Maybe give yourself 6 more months of this and then you need to quit and do something else. I was devastated. I could not believe the words coming out of his mouth. I remember exactly where I was, looking up at him with disbelief, shock. Like, how are you telling me to give up on my dream? The idea that this wasn't going to work just didn't even occur to me. I remember getting the call back from the news director at KLFY, the CBS affiliate in Lafayette, Louisiana. At the time, I could not show you Lafayette on a map, but I just knew I'm moving there. And because I had saved my money working at the casino, I could move, and I furnished my apartment myself. It was my first apartment on my own. I was so excited, just a fresh start. I felt like my adventure was finally beginning. I'd worked so hard, and I was given a chance, and that's all I needed.
She's wearing her little I Love Santa dress.
I knew I wasn't going to settle down there because I didn't have roots. You know, I didn't have family there, and I wanted to progress in my career. But I did about 2 years at KLFY, and then I moved down the road. I jumped to the big city, and I started working at WGNO, which is the ABC affiliate in New Orleans. 2 or 3 months after I moved to New Orleans is when I met Gary, my husband. And that was one of the common questions. People ask how I met my husband. And it's a really cute story. Gary is English. He comes from a town outside of London. And he had only been living in the United States for a couple years. And he was traveling at the time working for Bacardi. So he would travel from city to city as a brand ambassador. And he was going to bars, restaurants, events, cocktail competitions, food and beverage kind of industry types of events. At the time, he was based in Nashville. So when we met, it was sort of random. I was a local judge for a cocktail competition that was held by Bacardi, and he was one of the judges as the brand ambassador. It was the perfect scenario because we were both a part of this judges panel, and it was something kind of fun and lighthearted. You know, we just had to sip interesting cocktails that these bartenders were making and choose which one was our favorite. So it was fun and playful. It wasn't too serious, but we were still really close and we had all night to talk. At the end of the event, we were out with mutual friends and we just kind of kept going from place to place. Not even really drinking and going crazy, but we just wanted to spend more time with each other because we knew that that was basically it. You know, he was going to go off to the next city and I was going to stay behind, and there was really no reason for us to ever spend another moment together. So we extended the night as long as possible. I remember our friends eventually left and we just kept going to the next place just so we could keep talking. We had stayed out until 5 o'clock in the morning and I had to get up for work the next day. And I was so surprised that he kept texting me throughout the week. And the following weekend, we met on a Monday. That weekend, he flew me to Nashville to spend the weekend with him and take me out on a proper date, he said. We never stopped talking. And he is 7 years older than me. He's not old, but he is older, more mature. He was more established in his life. He knew what he wanted. So there was never any doubt in my mind of where we stood with one another. He made it so clear right from the beginning that he was in it for the long haul. He didn't care about distance. He was already traveling for work. So if he needed to come see me in New Orleans instead of going back to Nashville, he was perfectly happy to do that. There was always a trip for me to come visit him or him to come visit me. So I never was left wondering if it was going to work out. He always wanted to move me to Nashville. I remember him telling me within a couple weeks, he said, "I'm going to move you to Nashville." And I thought, no, you're not. I was so happy in my job. I loved my friends. I loved the city. I loved what I was doing at WGNO. This was another formative moment because somewhere between New Orleans and Nashville, Erin Nicole TV was born. I filmed my first YouTube video in the living room of our New Orleans apartment. I think it was probably only a couple weeks before we moved. And I think I've since deleted it because it was really, really bad. Makeup was still just a hobby. It was just something I was trying out for fun. I knew how to shoot and edit. I really loved makeup, so I figured why not give it a go. I was self-taught. I was just watching tons of YouTube videos, trying to sharpen my skills and get better because I had to do my own hair and makeup to be on TV. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Erin Nicole. We begin with the Ebola crisis continuing to develop. I shed a lot of tears and I had a lot of doubts, but I did agree to leave New Orleans. But at the time, I never thought I was giving up my broadcasting career. I didn't think that was the end. That was very difficult because I was living in a new city with a boyfriend, we weren't even engaged yet, who was traveling for work still, so I was on my own a lot. I didn't really know what I was going to do, and I had about 6 months that I was out of work. And I've told this story before, but I would just go to Sephora and walk around and buy a couple pieces of makeup. I certainly couldn't splurge. There were no hauls because I didn't have money coming in. You know, I had savings, of course, but I wasn't working and I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And Gary, bless him, he was so supportive. He just wanted me to be happy. Finally, I decided I needed to do something. So I just went to the mall in Green Hills and I started putting out applications. I didn't care. And I ended up getting a job at the Chanel counter as the counter manager of Nordstrom. It still felt like something that was very temporary. You know, I was just going to work in retail until I could find something else, but I truly fell in love with the cosmetic industry and it opened my eyes to all of the opportunities. Besides learning all about the brand, the formal training, you know, the introduction into the world of luxury makeup, I would say the best part about working at the Chanel counter was doing makeup on clients, which was something that I was not used to at all. I think I had done makeup on a couple of friends, but that's it. Never on total strangers. And that is a completely different beast. It is one thing to do makeup on yourself. It is a totally different thing to do makeup on somebody else. Everybody has different preferences and you get thrown into it right away. When you start working at a makeup counter, they expect you to be able to put makeup on a client that day. There's not a long period of waiting when you're going through formal training. They kind of train you when they can, but you just have to get right into it and learn along the way. And that's exactly what happened. In my entire time doing makeup on clients, and then of course later on I did freelance a little bit on my own, I can only ever remember one client who was really unsatisfied with her makeup, and it was early on, but It was very bad. She was a young girl, a teenager. I think she was going to a homecoming dance or a prom. Such a special moment. And I guess she just didn't want to wear as much makeup as she had on. She wanted it to be far lighter. In my defense, I still think it looked really nice to this day. I insist that it was good, but she cried in my chair, and it was devastating for both of us. I think we were both scarred at the entire experience. Of course, we sat down and we fixed it. We dried her tears, and for all I know, she went home and washed her face. But I will never forget that client because it is soul destroying and you feel so bad. I learned to listen to clients, and that is probably my number one piece of advice to makeup artists is to listen, ask as many questions as possible, and even when you think you have a great understanding of what the client wants, keep asking questions, keep checking in on them. Don't do a grand reveal at the end. Unless you know the client and you've worked on them before, then it's fun to do a grand reveal, change it up sometimes on them. Give them a mirror, let them see the process from start to finish so that there are no surprises. Because a smoky eye to you might look totally different to a smoky eye to somebody else. And the clients in Nashville were very different than the clients I had in Miami. Even those two experiences were totally different. So we were in Nashville almost 2 years, and then my husband got another call from work saying, come on down to the headquarters in Coral Gables. So he asked me if I would be interested in moving to Florida again, and I was so happy. We found the perfect place. Now I'm finally kind of catching you guys up to where we are now. We've been here I think over 3 years now, and we have not moved. We are still in the same building where we first moved when we came here. It is an apartment. Somebody asked, do you live in a house or an apartment? We're renting right now. We are so spoiled. We love our area. The price is right, the location is great. Eventually, we do want to purchase a house. Before we found our current place, we did a home search and we found so many incredible homes, but there was just nothing that was right for us. And it was so rushed, and we figured we just needed to get down here, spend some time here, get to know all of the different areas, make sure that we were 100% sure, 100% confident in the house that we buy. It's a huge purchase. And now that we're here, we're so comfortable. Now, the Chanel counter here was full, so I had to come on as a beauty stylist. But within the Nordstrom beauty department, the beauty stylist is sort of the top dog. That's kind of the top of the totem pole. People want to be a beauty stylist. Of course, everybody has different dreams and aspirations. Some people want to work their way up through the brand, and other people want to work their way up through the department. But in terms of retail sales, it's a great thing to be a beauty stylist because you get to go to the Beauty Stylist Summit twice a year, get trained by all of the brands, get tons of different gratis. So it was such an amazing world because I had this access where I could learn from all of the different brands, not just Chanel. And it kind of opened my eyes and made me a better makeup artist. It made me a better YouTube creator, which back when I was in Nashville, I'm sort of rewinding again, I was doing videos on the side, but I really didn't know the direction my channel was going to go. It was kind of filling the time because working retail, you work evenings, weekends. So I had a lot of days off during the week when my husband was at work, so I would just fill that time creating videos. But I really did not have a solid plan, which I would not recommend for anybody who's starting a YouTube channel. And the videos I was watching in my spare time had nothing to do with luxury beauty. So I didn't really know that there was this entire world, that there was an audience for that. I kind of randomly decided, you know what, I'm working at the Chanel counter, I have this knowledge. Why don't I try a Chanel video? It will probably do terrible, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Now I think that's my first or second most viewed video. I did a how to choose the best Chanel foundation for you video. And it started to grow and grow. Even as it was growing and my other videos were falling flat, doing terribly, I was in complete denial that there was an audience for this. It took me a long time. I was very stubborn and really had no idea what I was doing. Some people were interested in whether or not I do YouTube full time and why when I left Nordstrom. Most of my time working at Nordstrom was with the Chanel counter. I did also do some time at the Tom Ford counter. And then I bounced around a little bit. It's just kind of the way of the business. And I was a beauty stylist for a long time. I left Nordstrom right before Thanksgiving last year. And I did so quietly. I didn't make a big announcement or anything like that. I really don't like doing these types of videos and talking about myself too much. I just don't think people probably care. And it was a big deal for me. But that's it. I kind of celebrated in silence and kept working because at that point, I knew that this was what I wanted to do. I'm on to something. I had finally grown to a point where I could leave. Wasn't the most secure thing, but I took a leap of faith. You know, I knew that as long as I didn't give up and I kept creating content and kept pushing myself to get better, pushing better quality, better videos, video topics, it would keep growing and then I would be more secure. And so I'm now kind of celebrating a year working on my own, a year out, a year of independence, and it feels really good. I have not looked back once. The real reason I left when I did was because of Thanksgiving. And I put in my 2 weeks. I gave them plenty of notice. I would never leave anybody in a bad position, but it was couple weeks before Thanksgiving, and we were secretly planning our annual trip to New York City for Thanksgiving. And when you work retail, you just can never take off during the holidays. That time is never approved. And at this point, I had been working every holiday, every weekend, every evening for the past few years, and I was just ready. We didn't have dinner together in the evenings because a lot of times I would film in the morning before I went to work. I would work a full shift, come home, and then I had to edit the video. So it was just non-stop work. There was no such thing as weekends. I was happy to do it while I needed to, but the moment I could step away, I just had to for my own sanity. Somebody asked how my husband feels about me having a YouTube channel, and now the answer is he's incredibly supportive and very happy. Whereas before, I think it was kind of tough for him to see where I was going with it, especially in the beginning when my channel was not growing. I was putting in so much time, energy, money. In his mind, he kind of had that same conversation with me that my dad had with me about broadcasting. It was like, look, give yourself a time limit, do this for a couple more months, and then if you can't reach a certain goal, maybe it's time to give it up. I had the same reaction. How dare you? This is my dream. Of course I'm not going to give up. I'm a very stubborn person when I want to do something. So I just kept going. I knew in my mind that if I kept working at it, I could go full time and it would pay off in the long run, and eventually it did. And now he understands. And I have a great support system, the most epic support system ever. They're pragmatic. You can't blame them for that. But I think there's something to be said about self-motivation and self-determination. You're not always going to have people supporting you and cheering you on. Sometimes the people closest to you will be the people who doubt you and maybe plant seeds of doubt, not on purpose and not in a hurtful way, but they can't see the vision that you have. They don't understand the goals that you have, whether it's YouTube or side hustles, whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are. You can't expect the people around you, even though they love you, to be on board 100% of the time. So you just have to put your head down, grind, work. Don't look up, don't look around, don't worry about what's going on, what other people are doing. This person's having this success, this person's getting this brand deal. Even if it doesn't work out, at least you tried. I always had it in the back of my mind that I'm gonna keep doing YouTube, and if it turns to nothing, then it turns to nothing. But at least I tried, at least I did it, I attempted. Somebody asked, how do you stay so positive? And the short answer is gratitude. It's gratitude, it's attitude, it's growing up with a psychologist as a father who always taught me to reframe situations in my mind. It takes practice, but you can do mental exercises to constantly tap into your mindset and make sure that you're paying attention to the right things, because what you feed energy to grows and expands. I certainly have bad days. Bad things happen to me as well. We are all human after all. When I'm in a negative mindset, though, one, I never film. Two, I try to snap myself out of it as quickly as possible. I never like to sit in that feeling. I never like to dwell in the negativity. But along with gratitude, I think it's really important to be self-aware. When you can be self-aware, you can notice, okay, I'm really wallowing in self-pity right now, or I'm not giving that person the benefit of the doubt, or you know what? That person left you a rude comment, but you don't know what's going on in their day. They're a stranger to you. Why are you going to let that get to you? This question kind of made me laugh because it's a very standard job interview type of question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And a couple people asked about kids. They asked if we were interested, if that was something that we might see for ourselves in the future. I know that can be kind of a touchy subject. I don't feel sensitive about it. I'm not upset that anybody asked. We do want kids. We've talked about it. And in 10 years, I guess I would hope that we're both healthy, happy, maybe a few more dogs. I would say a house and children would definitely be on my radar for the future. But you never know. What's meant for you will never miss you. I believe that 100%. If it's meant to happen and that is the life you are meant to live, you're going to live it. I would hope that if we couldn't, for some reason, have children the traditional way, that we would still end up with a family one way or another. So the way I see it, if we want to have a family, we will definitely have a family. We're just not there yet. We're both very happy with where we are. I kind of already answered this. Somebody asked if I miss TV reporting. I think somebody asked if I ever would go back to broadcasting. And the answer is no, because I did it. I feel like I had the experience. It was amazing, incredible memories. I did not think it would end the way it did. I did not see the end coming. But now that I'm a few years removed, I have no regrets about any of the decisions I made because I ended up where I am now, and I would not go back to it. Heather asked if I still dance. I was a ballerina. I was a dancer for most of my life, which is part of why I was really happy to become a lightning girl for a couple seasons. It was kind of like my one last hurrah, my last dance recital, if you will. A perfect tie-in to the dance question was a lot of people asked me about my fitness routine, diet, kind of what I do to stay in shape. And because there was some interest, I'm planning on doing a workout vlog as well as a what I eat in a day style video. I know that's kind of a popular tag on YouTube. It's nothing that I've ever done before on my channel, but just for fun, just to switch it up. So those videos will be coming. I eat pretty healthy normally. I'm very boring when it comes to breakfast, lunch, dinner. It just kind of depends. I don't have a diet. I am dairy free. It's not really a diet per se. I do not diet. I do not restrict. If I want dessert, I eat dessert. If I want something salty, if I want a salty snack, I eat a salty snack. That is just a really slippery slope to go down, so I never like to be really restrictive with my diet. I just generally eat pretty healthy, and before quarantine, before COVID lockdown, I had a great routine with the gym, and I was really disciplined. For the last couple of months, I have not. I do try to go to the gym regularly, but it's tough. Here's a great beauty question. Somebody asked what treatments I get done, like Botox, lips, regular facials, under eye filler, microblading was another question thrown in there. And I do get Botox regularly. I did create a video on Botox, and I got my lips done in the video. I've had cool sculpting done. I've had microblading done. I used to get regular facials. Now I generally just do them at home. And under eye filler, I've never done, but I have been interested. So I may seek a consultation. I have to be open and honest. It would be deceptive of me to review skincare and makeup and show you close-ups of my face without disclosing what I have done. The last time I had Botox was maybe 2 weeks ago now, so you could see this is me trying to raise my eyebrows. I can still scrunch a little bit in, but I'm less concerned with this because I don't really, I'm talking really close to the mic, sorry. I don't really get these, not yet, but I get these whenever I'm doing my makeup. So I like to have this pretty frozen, and it is. crow's feet, I get those done as well. So I just get crow's and forehead. That's it. The only place I've ever done filler is my lips. I love it. It can be done naturally. When I say, oh, I love it, it's not because, oh, I just love when people blow their lips off their face and they look so unnatural. You can have these treatments done in a very natural way. It doesn't have to be extreme. So somebody asked, what do I love most about YouTube? Which is pretty easy to answer. And it's you guys getting to meet other people who love luxury beauty and just chit chat. I love it. It's the sense of community, because otherwise without you, I'm sitting in a room by myself, I'm editing by myself, and I'm uploading for nobody, which is not fun at all, and it's not nearly as rewarding as getting to know you guys. So you are my favorite part about YouTube. What keeps me motivated? That's also an easy one. Paying my bills. That's what keeps me motivated. It's kind of a gift and a curse, because now that I'm full-time, I can work from home, but I find that anytime I'm at home, I'm usually working. Here's a question about drugstore products. Somebody asked if there are any drugstore products that I like, and I want to say there were maybe a handful of questions in this category about more affordable makeup. At this point, since I've been doing this for a couple years, I just have no need to shop at the drugstore. I have so much. If I were to recommend a drugstore product, like something that you can save your money on instead of splurging for high end, I would go for eyeliners, especially like black liquid eyeliner. You can get a great drugstore liquid eyeliner. You don't have to spend $30, $40. You don't need the Tom Ford eyeliner, even though it's great. If you're looking for places to save, I would save there. Mascara is another one, as much as I love a good high-end mascara. Brow products as well. If all you typically do is fill in your brows with a pencil, you can pick up a decent brow pencil at the drugstore for a couple bucks. Somebody asked my favorite TV show or movie. Movie would be impossible, but favorite TV show, we've never really been TV people until the last couple of months, and then we've started to get into some of the older shows that were popular years ago. So we finished Breaking Bad, which was okay. We also finished The Americans. That's probably my favorite. Ugh, I'm still not over that finale. We're currently watching House of Cards, which started out really strong, and I think it might have peaked, but I am waiting for the next season of Ozark and Billions. The very last question I'm going to get to for today's video is a good one. If I could only use one brand for makeup, skincare, and brushes in 2021, what would they be? For makeup, I would say Chanel. For brushes, I would say maybe Rephr brushes. Oh, skincare is all over the place. It would be very difficult for me to narrow down one brand of skincare. I'm trying to think of the brand that I use the most, but I'm kind of all over the place with my skincare. We will have to revisit the skincare question, but that's it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this get to know me Q&A style video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you liked hearing a little bit about my story. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. As always, I will be linking everything on my face down in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.